Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the podcast that is officially in the know. Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Gersnet Weekly Podcast, the podcast that is now officially in the know. We bring you information 4 weeks before it actually happens. We told you 4 weeks ago about big Kyle Lafferty probably going to Rangers, and lo and behold, that came out through the week there. We also had Stephen Clifford on last week telling us about Koulibaly's tackle, and sure enough, we found out on Thursday that he's quite mean in the tackle there. So it's all happening here at the Gersnet Podcast. We're the place to come and listen to for all the Rangers news and views and all the rest of it. Get started on this week. We've got some interesting topics this week. We'll look at the Osijek game. We'll look at the forthcoming game against Aberdeen. And we'll also have a wee look at the statement from Celtic around the ticket allocation stuff and also the fan zone issue that crept up through the week. We'll maybe have a wee look at today's game against Wigan also. Joining me this week, well, we've got two Davids, but we'll call one Pete. We've got David Tomlinson, who's known as Pete on the Gersnet forums. How are you doing, Pete?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
How's the weather over there in Germany?
Still brilliant, mate.
Still brilliant.
Still had another barbecue today.
Aye, that sounds great. Mine, I had a wee incident with my barbecue today. It caught fire, so that was fun.
Is it not supposed to do that?
No, like this, no. If I'm being honest, no. This was pretty bad. If I never got it nipped in the bud when I did, I think it was a fire brigade effort, but I managed to avert that. Also joining us this week is David Fraser. He's not been on this season so far. How are you doing, David?
How are you doing, Colin? Not too bad, thanks. I have been on this season, but
have you? Well, it couldn't have been when I was on, because
not with your good self, of course. So it's my debut with your good self this season.
Yes, that's the one that counts. We don't bother about Ross. He pulls sickies every week. You know what I mean? The boy's a disgrace. Although I hear he might be back next week, so I'll be easy on the stick from. I heard you were at the game today, David.
I was, yeah.
What did you make it?
A game of two halves, as the manager rightly said. First half was a wee bit hard to sit through, if I'm being honest. But the second half was a marked improvement, and it was a good all-round performance and a good 3-goal victory, and yet another clean sheet. Yeah, the clean sheet's a big thing with me. I was also quite impressed with Steven Gerrard's post-match interview. You know, the message he was sort of putting across was, don't wait till half-time to get a bollocking for me. You know, just go out and start at a decent sort of level of performance. So I think everything about Gerrard's sort of start seems good, as you say, loads of clean sheets. I think middle to front still needs tweaked, but I think we're getting there. How did Big Sadiq look today? Well, he looked rusty. He's a big fella. He gets about the park well, as you'd imagine, with the length of stride that he would have. You know, he covers ground quickly, and I think you can basically boil it down to, you don't play for a Serie A team unless you're quite handy, Colin. So I think there's more to come from him. He didn't score today, despite some press reports. It was an own goal for Alex Bruce. But he was there, and he put himself about, and he clipped a nice ball inside, which you just kind of betrayed signs of, innate quality. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's like once he gets up to speed.
Aye, I saw one clip on Twitter. He chested the ball in the middle of the park down to someone, and someone clattered him in the back, and he went down in a heap. And then the play goes out left, and they go down the wing, and the cross comes in. And when the cross comes in, Big Sadiq comes from nowhere. He must have sprinted about 40, 50 yards to catch up with the play. So I think that ties in with what you're saying. I think he's going to be a big, strong, physical type player, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing him. What did you make of When I was looking at the team, Windass wasn't even in the squad. He seems to have disappeared since he missed those chances in the earlier round, the Europa League. Do you think that's a sign that he might be on his way?
I got instinct, Colin. I would say, probably. I mean, he's linked with West Ham. Am I right in saying that? I know his name's been linked with Aston Villa, West Brom, and curiously enough, West Ham. I think that I think if the right offer comes in, I don't think Stevie and Rangers will be too difficult to deal with where Josh is concerned. But I've changed tack a wee bit with Josh. I'm trying to my hardest this season to start with a clean slate and look at the positives rather than look for the shortcomings of some players. And Josh has got attributes that I would like to think that Stevie can harness, as I think I mentioned it in the last podcast that I took part in. So it probably will be off, but you never know. It's all speculation. I mean, you shouldn't probably read too much into it, I would say.
I mean, I don't know. He seems to have disappeared, as I said, since he had 2 or 3 really bad misses, and I just wonder that maybe he's on his way. Right, we'll move on to the European win through the week there. Obviously, we've got the second leg to come, but an away win in Europe, we've not had that since Sporting Lisbon in 2008, I believe. And we got to the final that year. Pete, what were your thoughts of the overall performance on Thursday night there?
Well, I've seen a lot worse European ties by better teams than we've probably got just now. I thought really very strong performance, really. Defensively, good in the middle, although I felt that the 2 backs were pretty, Tavernier was dodgy and Flanagan was dodgy at first, although he came on to a game a bit better. The left winger, of the left back it was, for I'm going to call them Osijek. I'm going to get used going again because I don't think it's Osijek. I think it's Osijek.
Osijek, right? Okay. Anyone that's got worse pronunciations than me, Pete, I'll have that any day. Some of the ones I've come up with recently have been crackers.
The left back, well, for the easiness of it, I'm going to call him Bandy Hijic because he had a bandage on his head the whole day. So, and they've all got itch after their name, so I hope in Thursday they're less scratching their heads anyway.
Oh dear me. I need to hear a word with Stuart about not getting you back on with some of these dreadful puns and pronunciations. David,
sorry, on you go.
Sorry, no, on you go. Finish up.
No, I was just going to overall performance. Well, I think Koulibaly was, for me, absolutely brilliant, and that tackle at the end, that was just stunning, wasn't it? But good performance. Morelos coming back onto form, really, that pleases me probably more than anything at the moment, because I think if we get him in form, we'll be a far better team. Yeah,
I would agree with that. I mean, the Koulibaly thing, Stephen Clifford was on last week saying that, he was the one that was impressing in training. I've got to be honest with you, I took something else from his statement. When a guy with a flowery accent starts talking about another man's tackle in a favourable way, you take something else from it. But it turns out he was meaning, how mean he was on the park, and that tackle on Thursday was quite impressive. David, coming back to you, what was the main positives you took out, other than getting through? I mean, obviously, we're not through. Obviously, getting the away win was a big thing, after so many years of, not having an away win in European football. Other than that, what was the sort of positives that you took from it?
Overall, Colin, I thought it was a really professional performance. I'd echo Pete's sentiments there. The thing that struck me was that it was almost like back to the Walter Smith era, in that everyone seemed to know what they were doing. They seemed committed. They seemed organised. They just seemed up for the battle, for want of a better expression. I agree with what Pete was saying there at the back. The 2 backs didn't exactly cover themselves in glory in the first half. Certainly, obviously, James Tavernier, I think, as the manager made mention of in his post-match comments, that the strength of the Osijek team was going down his side of the pitch. Barisic, the left back, he's a tidy player. I think there's even been some comments amongst the Rangers community that it might be worthwhile making an inquiry about him. He certainly looked okay. John Flanagan, again, he came on to a game that the longer the game went on. But I think overall, once the first kind of 20 minutes get past, I think that the passing improved. As you guys have said, they made mention of Koulibaly. he gets about the park. He dovetailed quite nicely with Ryan Jack, and as Pete rightly pointed out, Alfie gets his head on a cross. It wasn't an easy one to direct and goal because it was behind him. Had to arch his neck a wee bit to get it in target. And he seemed to get the nonsense out of his head for the game the other night, where he was tangling with their defenders, but he didn't seem to react all that much. So I don't know whether the fellas have maybe I heard him and said, by all means, Alfie, be aggressive, but channel it in the right manner and don't get caught up in, kind of like Diego Costa antagonistic kind of mindset on the pitch. There's no need for that. Obviously, the day he reacted quite badly to a tackle, and Daniel Candacius is one of his big mates at the club, and in my opinion, he did the right thing. But if he irons out his game, then I think we can move forward, and hopefully that we continue the vein of form that we're in into Thursday night.
Pete, obviously Gerrard started with 2 debutants on Thursday. He started Ryan Kent, who's on loan from Liverpool, and obviously Koulibaly, who we spoke about before. On Koulibaly, Gerrard said after the game, he was majestic. He covered every blade of grass. He won tackles. He broke up the play. This is just his first 90 minutes. Can you imagine what he's going to be like after 5 or 6 games? And on Ryan Kent, Gerrard said he's only played 2 45-minute games in friendlies. He's still got another level to go, but he looked dangerous, and the supporters can see what kind of player he's going to be. Certainly, I thought the 2 of them looked quite impressive on the night. How did you feel about the 2 debutants?
Thought they were very good. Koulibaly, well, I've already sort of singled him out. Good in the tackle, as Gerrard said, covered every blade of the grass. I thought it was really, I think the first 10 minutes he was sort of a wee bit, wasn't up to pace, but after the first 10 minutes he just got into it everywhere. And with Ryan Jack, they seem to have directly a good understanding with each other. And Kent, I don't think he was that great going forward. I think he tried to beat people on the outside a lot, and he didn't quite make it. When he certainly, when he came inside, we obviously got the corner for the goal. He brought the ball. It was a brilliant ball from Katic, by the way, out to him, and he brought it under control quickly, and then brought it inside and had a shot at goal, which was deflected for a corner. And then he also ran out to get the ball from the short corner and put it back to Tavernier for the cross. So he obviously had a big part in the game, a big part in that goal. And he's covering at the back. I thought running back to cover people, I thought was really good as well. And I think his forward play will improve as he goes on. But I thought really, if the guy's only played 245 minutes, then a really great performance, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't overly disagree. The one thing I got a wee bit frustrated with Ryan Kent is there was more than one occasion he took a touch too many, before getting his shot away or the pass away. Overall, I thought he caused enough problems on the night. And Koulibaly, well, I think we've all been really impressed with him. Yeah, I thought the 2 of them for the first game, especially in a away tie in Europe, which can be quite tricky, I thought the 2 of them showed up well. David, the game coming up this week, we've got the chance to progress to the next round. Are you optimistic that we'll get through the tie, that we'll negotiate the home game and get through?
I think we've got to be, Colin. Somebody mentioned that's 5 games we've played. We've scored 12 goals and we've not conceded any. So I'm quite enthused by the level of progression week on week. If we continue that into Thursday night's game, I think we've got to be positive. A guy that I neglected to mention from last Thursday night's performance, I think Ovie Ejaria, I thought he was quite handy. He's obviously he's not frightened to take the ball. He's back to the opposition's goal and try and turn and spin, and that's something I've made mention of as lacking, certainly last season. Again, today he tried to make things happen today, and I'd like to think that if he manages to get a goal or 2 under his belt, I'd like to see his confidence. I'd like to think that his confidence will rise. So, yeah, getting into Thursday night's return leg. How we approach it. If we approach it with the right mindset, and we go out right from the first whistle and start as we mean to go on, then I think we've got enough to take care of Osijek. Osijek are a decent team. They pose a danger. There was a couple of moments in the game last Thursday where we saying that the road were locked maybe a bit unfair in Rangers, but I think we make our own luck. We at least attempted to go in and win the ball. I think the manager said today after the match that he's still a wee bit concerned about attentiveness in terms of getting the first contact on balls and in terms of set pieces or coming into the box. So we weren't too lacking in that the other night, but there was times where we weren't maybe nearly clearing the ball quite as tidily as we might. So if we can work on that and training in the lead up to the Thursday night's game, and we pose more of a threat going forward, and Alfie's, I hope he's not injured as a result of today's match, that he starts, then I think we've got to be positive, Colin.
I would agree with that, absolutely. I think we're in with a really good chance, and who knows, Pete, if we do get through, obviously it looks like we'll get Maribor. They're 0-0 in their tie at the moment, and they're playing at home against a team that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. It's a shocker of a name. But it looks like they'll go through. So obviously we've got history with Maribor, and that they knocked us out in 2011. If we get through, what do you think our chances are of negotiating the next round?
I actually think that this team we're playing now are better. Well, probably better than Maribor. I think we've got a good chance against Maribor. I don't think it's any worse. I think we've maybe get more chance of getting out on Thursday than we have getting out against Maribor, to be honest with you. Or even although we are a goal up, as Gerard said, it's only half time, and Osijek, they're actually pretty famous for winning away from home. So I don't think that leg's finished yet. So to go into Maribor, I actually think it might be an easier game than we've got now, and I just hope that we can push through on Thursday and get the result there. I think that's the one we've got to worry about first.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously we've got to get the job done on Thursday before we can even consider, who we're going to get next. But it's starting to feel, I mean, at the start of this sort of campaign, the knockout stages seemed just a wee bit too far for me. I didn't really think that we had a chance of making it. But if we get through on Thursday, it starts to look like, we're in with a fair shout, which would be, if Gerard could achieve that in these first few weeks of the season, and I think that'd be an absolutely fantastic start, no doubt about it. Right, moving on to the game this Sunday against Aberdeen, the opening game of the league campaign, the start for 55 and all that kind of stuff. Now, personally, I had a feeling that we would either be at Easter Road or Pittodrie for the opening game of the season, and sure enough, we're at Pittodrie, and then 2 weeks later, we're at Celtic Park, or 2 games later, sorry. So, a right difficult start to the season. David, Pittodrie traditionally is quite a hard place to go. How do you think we'll get on up there in our first game of the season? Well,
a wee bit difficult to say right at this second, Colin. Obviously, a bit's going to hinge on Thursday night. If we could progress to the third qualifying round on Thursday night, then I think we'll go up the roads to Pittodrie on a relative high. I reckon it will put down a marker. It'll let the new players see what Scottish football's all about. Obviously, it's a hostile environment to go into. I don't think it's quite as hostile as it was many years ago, but it's still, nevertheless, it's still a big game in Scottish football. So the new guys will see what it's all about. Derek McInnes will have his players fired up. He'll have the team organised. They're obviously playing the return leg of the Burnley tie. And by all accounts, they gave a good account of themselves on Thursday night against Burnley. And if they'd have shooting boots on in the first half, could have possibly scored more goals. So Aberdeen will be a threat, as they always are. But as Stevie keeps on saying, it's all about us and how we impose ourselves in the game. If we go into the game with the right mentality, we start from the first whistle, we're organised, we're hard to beat, and we give ourselves a platform, and hopefully we got our shooting boots on and we can create chances and get some goals, then I don't see any reason why we can't come away from Pittodrie with a positive result on Sunday.
Pete, obviously, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, it brings back sort of memories. The whole thing about Steven Gerrard coming to Rangers is sort of, it makes me think of the time when Souness arrived. It feels kind of similar. Obviously, we're not signing the same level of player. We're not going out and signing the captain of England and all that, but there is a similar feeling. And I always remember Alan McCoy saying when Rangers turned up at Easter Road for the opening game against Hibs in that campaign, that he'd never seen a team so fired up against Rangers. Obviously Souness arriving and bringing all the big money players in had sparked something in these Hibs players, and they actually won the game that day. They beat us 2-1. So, part of me thinks we might face something similar on Sunday. If that's the case, how should we approach it? Should we go for gung-ho and go for the win and just go pure attacking, or should we maybe sit in a wee bit and try and get them on the counter?
No, I think we should. I don't think we should go gung-ho, but I think Rangers and every team, possibly out with Celtic, should dominate the game. Aberdeen haven't really. They've added 3 players to their pool, and if I get sorry for the paper noise, it's Thomas Cherney, Stephen Gleeson, and Tommy Coburn or something like that. And yeah, I don't see they've lost Adam Rooney, who I thought was probably one of their best forwards. So I don't really see them having strengthened that much. And well, if you look at the difference between Rangers now and Rangers last year when Pedro was in, and we beat them 3 times last year and drew once when McLean dived to get a penalty. So we should have really beat them that day as well. Rangers should just dominate the game, and I really don't see us having a difficult day, to be honest.
I mean, I agree in terms of recently. There's no doubt that Pittodrie has been not as hostile and seem to have done quite well. As you said, Pedro got a few results up there, so did Murty. But I just wonder if Gerrard's arrival will reignite something in the Aberdeen support in terms of the atmosphere and the players being up for it. I think we could have a proper tricky game on Sunday. I think they really need to be at it. I think it'll be a big test for us. Hopefully one will pass, because defensively we've looked solid, but I think it could be a real tricky game for us on Sunday. And if we get a win up there, I would be absolutely delighted. But
they'll probably just have the dumper have been dumped out of Europe, so that'll knock them. That might knock them back a peg or two.
That could knock the stuffing out of them a wee bit. Aye, that would be good, I suppose. David, how important is it? Obviously, we've got quite a tricky start to the season. As I said earlier on, we started at Pittodrie, and then we're across the road to the Shower at Celtic Park at the beginning of September. How important is it that Rangers sort of set down a mark and put out a message that this team's going to be a different beast from the one for the last 2-3 seasons?
It's vitally important, Colin. Obviously, as you've made mention of there, Pittodrie could potentially be a tricky fixture. I hear where you're coming from with regards to the kind of harking back to the Souness era, but you also made mention of the fact there's not really any big stars have been brought in. So I think it's all for the players to do. The manager keeps banging on about being aggressive in and out of possession. He mentions that constantly. And if we can do that, then we're going to have better than a 50-50 chance of imposing ourselves in the game. And if we can do that at Pittodrie, then obviously the following week is our first home game of the season against St Mirren, and then we go to Fir Park before we go to Parkhead. So if we can do that in the first 4 games, and if we can amass, let's say, before we go to Parkhead, out of the 9 points, let's say no worse than 8 points from those 3 games, preferably maximum points. I think that'll go a long way to determining how the season, certainly in the first round of fixtures, how we seem to go. If we can go into Parkhead without dropping too many points, I don't see that we will drop too many points. I think that there's just a different mindset, there's a different feel. Yes, there's still the odd glitch there, but we're a work in progress. We've brought in some decent players. None are world beaters and superstars, although Koulibaly might go on to be one and later on in his career. But if we're in the hunt, going into Parkhead, and we can, as I say, improve game on game, and go to Parkhead and give a good account of ourselves, and not be humbled, or just give them something to think about. I think that there's enough in what we've seen so far that once we get into the league campaign proper, the time we get to Fir Park, I think that some of the players, they'll have an idea of what the environment's like, how quickly you're closed down in Scotland, what the standard of refereeing is going to be like, because I think that some of the players may well be targeted, Koulibaly being one of them. So it's a big learning curve, and it may well work in our favour that we've got 2 difficult games. And, well, they're all going to be difficult games. I don't want to be disrespectful to St Mirren and Motherwell, but obviously Aberdeen and Celtic are the currently the best 2 teams in the country. So it could be a blessing of these guys going away to their places to test our mettle, if you like, and hopefully we're up for the fight.
I think the big issue for me is the fact that both those games are away from home. Celtic are obviously the champions at the moment. Aberdeen have pipped us to second place for the last 2 years. To get those two games so early in the season away from home, I think it's going to be a tricky few weeks, I must admit. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we go there and do something. Pete, in terms of the game on Sunday, and then obviously we play Celtic a few weeks later, is there a danger that we could, after 3-4 weeks, be already maybe 4 or 5 points, off the pace, and all of a sudden Gerrard will be, because there's plenty in the media. I think Graham Spears has been quoted as saying that Steven Gerrard looks terrified. So it's obvious that there's certain people out there waiting for this thing to fail, waiting for Gerrard to fall flat in his face. So after 3 games, if say we get a draw at Pittodrie and we lose at Celtic Park, and we're maybe 5-6 points off the pace, is there a danger that could then have a real negative impact on how we go for the rest of the season?
Well, I don't think I would put anything in what Graham Spears is saying anyway about Rangers. Let's face it, he's bottom of the league when it comes to that type of thing. The one thing about the Aberdeen game which not been mentioned yet is Koulibaly against against Shinnie. That could be quite a hot battle when they meet together in the heavy tackling midfield. To go on to I can't see us being. I don't think Hibs have done that much, and I just think Rangers have improved so much. It could be draws, but let's face it. These other teams are playing other teams as well, so it's not just whether they beat us or whether we beat them. It's what they do against other teams. What are Celtic going to do? Celtic are not. They were absolutely terrible last year. Really, it was just that we were sort of a worse at the end up. We sort of collapsed after the 3-2 game at Ibrox. But if we'd have won that game, then it might have been the league might have been completely different. So I really don't think we're going to be 9 points behind. And what the media say, the media are against Rangers anyway. So apart from 1 or 2 journalists, so I wouldn't put much into what they're going to say. And as you say, they're all hoping and praying because it gives them room for another to write more about Rangers and big bad Rangers and how Gerrard's been brought in and he's failing and they are sitting waiting for that. But the only way to prove them wrong is to beat these teams on the field, and I think we'll do that. So there you are. So you think we'll win on Sunday, Pete? I'll go for 3-0. 3-0? Woof, confident. David, what about you? Score prediction for Sunday?
I'll go 2-1.
2-1 Rangers?
2-1 Rangers.
I'll take either of those. Absolutely fantastic. Right, and on to our final topic for tonight. We'll have a wee look at Celtic's statement last week on the ticket allocation for the Old Firm game, and also it was announced that Rangers were going to have a fan zone at the 3G pitch across the road from the main stand at Ibrox, and Glasgow City Council have objected to that. So we'll have a wee discussion about these things, guys. Firstly, I'll have a wee look at Celtic's statement, which makes for interesting reading. It reads, Celtic Football Club has confirmed that it will issue approximately 800 tickets to visiting supporters for the fixture against Rangers at Celtic Park on September 2nd. This mirrors a decision announced recently by Rangers. This is not a development we welcome, and it is unfortunate that the initial decision came without any form of discussion. The previous arrangements worked well for both sets of supporters, as well as contributing to the status of the fixture as a sporting occasion. Following the unilateral action by Rangers, we cannot allow our supporters to be doubly penalised by having access to the away fixture reduced so dramatically while not being offered the opportunity to maximise our own support at Celtic Park. And they then go on to talk about the SPFL rules, reasonable provision, blah, blah, blah. Now, the thing I took out of this statement, I'll come to you first, David. For a club that has, gone out their way to sort of mock Rangers and sort of distance themselves from the old firm thing, they'll not use the term old firm, it's Glasgow Derby now. I'm reliably informed that when Rangers are at Celtic Park, they don't even announce their name. It's your opposition today. So there is there's been a real, almost sort of an aggressive tone from Celtic as a club in terms of this fixture. But when it comes to their supporters, all of a sudden they're talking about that contributes to the status of the fixture. Now, to me, that just reeks of, double standards, and they're contradicting themselves a wee bit. Another thing I find interesting is the timing. I mean, Rangers announced this a few weeks ago. So why do you think they've waited until now to make a comment? I found it a bit odd that they commented last week. The
timing, you need to ask Peter Lowell with regards to the timing. I think that the statement was pompous. It's typical of Celtic these days, Colin. As you say, I mean, the hypocrisy. They don't acknowledge Rangers because they pander to their support and some of their shareholders, and yet they're starting to crib about a reduction in the sporting occasion because of a lack of Celtic fans there. It's probably, reading between the lines, I would imagine that their noses are out of joint because they want to glow. Presumably they feel confident that they're just going to continue to humble Rangers, whether it's at Parkhead or whether it's at Ibrox, and they're going to revel in rubbing their noses in it publicly with their supporters at our place. So it's difficult not to find fault with how they're coming across, but the whole stuff about unilateral decisions and whatnot. It's double standards on Celtic's part, and I'd like to hear what the reaction is if we go to their place and beat them and hear what they've got to say. And I bet you Old Firm's mentioned shortly thereafter. It wouldn't surprise me.
They'll probably blame the length of the grass, David, if we beat them. You know what I mean? There'll be something stupid like that.
All right there.
Pete, now, personally, I felt for the last sort of 3 or 4 fixtures at Ibrox that their support has really ripped the arse out a wee bit. Excuse my language, but you had the issues with the pyro. There was a couple of pyro thrown into the home supporters. You have this issue with them every time the ball goes out and they're winning, it never comes back. And then when they get a replacement ball, sure enough, they chuck on the original ball. And I just think for a while now that if they're winning, fair enough. They've got a right to celebrate. I'm not going to take that away from them. But there has been a feeling for a while now that it's just been way over the top. And I felt something had to happen. Although I was a wee bit surprised at the action that Rangers did take. Now, given it was obvious that Celtic would respond, that they would drastically reduce our allocation for Celtic Park, do you think it was the right call by Rangers to cut the allocation?
Well, I was at the the last game when the firework or bomb or whatever it was dropped. I was actually quite near it, and yeah, you do get frightened when things like that happened. I mean, it hits your ears. So I don't know what as I say, I think about 10 yards away from it, and God knows what the young guy that was standing next to it, what his ears were like. But I think you're talking about when they brought the statement out. Their original statement was that they were just going to copy Rangers and we would only get 100 tickets. Do you really think if Lywell, I'm going to call him Lywell, do you really think if he had sold all these season tickets for that area that he would be bothered now? They just they can't sell the tickets, and that's what's up. Because if he'd have sold tickets to Celtic fans, he would have been quite happy. He's obviously not. His original, when we were away down to the League 4, he was saying it was costing Celtic 10 million per year. And that's what he's only worried about the money that's coming into his coffers. And that's why the statement's coming out now. Funnily enough, he's calling in the SPFL to make a decision at the moment that he's been called on to the SPFL board. So whether he's going to try and influence that from his position, then that's probably a lot to do with his timing.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. But to go back to my original question, do you think Rangers got it right?
Personally, for Rangers supporters, I think it is because, I think it'd be safer. Plus the fact, I think, it's terrible Rangers supporters getting pulled out of their seat when they come. For the atmosphere, I think the Old Firm was one of the greatest games because there was full stands of the other supporters. So I think the atmosphere will be hit by it. But I think for safety issues and things we're getting, I mean, if you take about the effigies that were put over the stand at Parkhead with the Rangers with getting hung and the orange person getting hung with dolls, then things were actually moving on to a new level. And I think that is a reason that they have to call it, and Rangers made a good decision that way.
I would agree with you there, Pete. I do think there has been a spike in the sort of hatred at these fixtures, and it's mostly coming, obviously I'm biased, but it appears to me it's mostly coming from certainly the Green Brigade. I mean, those effigies, in these circumstances, what I always do is reverse the roles. And if that had happened at Ibrox, then it would have been, that would have been front page news, and your usual suspects within the media would have been calling for Ibrox to be shut down, I think. David, I mean, I'm quite sad that in a certain way that this has happened. I mean, I don't go to a great amount of away games. I've got my season ticket, and it's mostly the home games I go. But there are fans out there that go week in, week out, travel up and down the country, and obviously now 6,000 of these fans are not going to get tickets for the away fixture at Celtic Park. Is this whole thing unnecessary? Could it have been handled a bit differently?
That's a difficult one, Colin. I think that the landscape has changed irrevocably. There's no balance of power within Scottish football. It's obviously it's weighted on one side, and I think you're right. I think that there's definitely been a spike in the levels of venom and the bilious nature of the fixture. I think it's a potential powder keg. Whether it's unnecessary or not, I think it's just the landscape's changed, Colin. We live in a different world. We live in a different Scotland. Certainly you and I would bear testament to. Obviously Pete's in Germany, but I don't know. Is the whole thing unnecessary? I would like it in an ideal world. I would like it to be, the way it was 20 years ago. And people might point a finger at me and say, well, politically correct people would say, well, the fixture is, we're beginning back the way, but there's still the same religious aspect to the game. There's still the same hatred on both sides of the park. Now you could say, well, it's 90-minute hatred, and it all dissipates after the final whistle and all. And that probably is the case to a far greater degree than it's ever been. But something in the back of my mind just says, there's the potential for it all to kick off. At the end of the day, it's still Rangers against Celtic, and the reasons for the hatred are still there. They're probably tenfold now in the light of what's happened to us in the last 6 years. So, and that's before you even factor in the kind of stuff that may well be other reasons behind it. Pete made mention of the safety aspect, and obviously David Murray, he banned him completely from Ibrox. For a game in the 90s, which unfortunately we lost. It kind of backfired, and the atmosphere did suffer that day, I can remember. But as a spectacle, it'd be greater if we had both sets of fans. Ideally, Ibrox would be bigger, and we'd have far more of us. Well, obviously we do. But if they had their fans and we were winning, then it'd be a far greater spectacle. But we'll need to wait and see how it all pans out.
We can't say, though, that things never happened in the past. I mean, the last game I went to before I moved to Germany was the 1980 Cup final with the police horses charging both sets of fans. And so, I mean, things did happen then. It's not as if in fact, maybe even been worse back then. But it just seems to be that there wasn't the same hatred out with the game, in the papers and guys going to work and guys getting on a bus that seem to get done in just because they're wearing a Rangers scarf or a Celtic scarf. It's possible the other way about as well. But the hate just seems to be a lot more. But as I say, 1980 Cup final, that was really shocking. And I stood in that, and I remember the worst thing for me was the bottles coming down in my head that was thrown from the back. So thankfully that you can't get bottles anymore into the ground. But things did happen then. So it's not that things didn't happen then.
No, I would never have suggested that was the case, Pete. But I think back then the clubs had a wee bit more respect for one another. I think the fans are always going to. There's always going to be a partisan element to the rivalry, and you're always going to get the songs and all the rest of it. I do think.
Sorry, Colin. That's a big thing that I would say the clubs seem to be nose to nose, growling at each other, and that wasn't in the past. And I think it's been led by Celtic. If I'm being honest, I think they feel they have leverage on the EBT stuff, and they're claiming that they've been denied titles and all the rest of it, and that is allowing them to adopt this sort of aggressive stance. That said, they'd binned the Old Firm thing before 2012. If you had a wee look at the Celtic View and all the rest of it, and Tony Hamilton, I think, was the editor at the time, he was very vocal about there was no such thing as the Old Firm. They didn't want any connection with us. So I think it comes down to Peter Lawwell, essentially. I think this is his agenda, and he's pushing it. And you could argue maybe it's worked because they're on a run in terms of winning trophies and the supporters all love them again. But to come out with a statement that reducing the ticket allocation affects the status of the fixture, when all they've done has over the last 5 or 6 years has trash the status of that fixture and say, well, there is no Old Firm. It's a Glasgow derby, and there's no special rivalry between us. I think that reeks of double standards, if I'm being honest. We'll move it on a wee bit, guys. The club had announced that they were going to have a fan zone. Now, the fan zones have been in the car park next to the old Edmondson House building for the last season. It's just basically a car park with a wee stage and all the rest of it. The last month, the club announced that it would allow 2,000 fans onto the 3G pitch across the road from the main stand before the game against St Mirren on August 11th. And Rangers had secured a licence to sell alcohol during the event. However, community council bosses have raised an objection against it, saying it will stop kids playing at the football centre. Now, Stephen Dornan seems to be the main guy behind this, and I think we can say safely that he's not a friend of Rangers. His quote: "The community council took a vote and they decided to retain their opposition to the fan zone.
the number of people who would be admitted at entry at the St Mirren game would be 2,500, but Rangers had suggested that would be increased to about 7,000 eventually. Donnan then goes on to say, my concern is these matches are controlled by the likes of Sky Sports. If you look at the football schedules, the pitch would never be available for kids' football ever again. This is laughable stuff. Rangers should be investing in youth football in the area. They shouldn't be trying to replace it with burgers and booze. A Glasgow Life spokesman confirmed that, until the objection is raised, the fan zone would not take place. Pete, I'll come back to you on this. What's your decision? What's your thoughts on the decision by the councillors to object to this? Because personally speaking, I think it seems like madness.
I don't think it's. I think it's been set up just to put another pole in Rangers' way to stop earning get a money earner. The name Dornan, that sort of springs out right away, doesn't it? With the SNP, but.
I might be wrong, but I believe that James Dornan's his dad. But I might be wrong in that. I was doing a wee bit of research today.
Okay, I looked it up. I didn't know whether he was related to him or not. But I think any time obviously I don't get to Ibrox that much, but I don't think I've ever seen kids playing in that park when the game's been on. Anytime I've walked past it.
Well, actually, Pete, you've got a very valid point there, because more than one person tweeted today, photographs from that pitch, and there was no one on it. Absolutely not a soul on it. So, you're right. Anytime I've been there, I've never seen a huge amount of people on it.
The thing that Rangers could come back with is that, Rangers, I know during the summer holidays at schools and things like that, I know Rangers do have coaches that go around schools or onto pitches and actually coach young kids. So his whole thing is not about the community being damaged in any way. The whole thing is about stopping Rangers getting a way to earn money. But I think Rangers. I don't think the long term thing was to use that pitch. I think Rangers are going to move that to other parts of the ground for that 7,000. Obviously you can't get 7,000 onto that wee park, but I think the whole thing is to have things going on all round Ibrox. So maybe losing the pitch, it might not be in the long term. It might not have been a long term plan, but just a short term plan.
David, Pete's quite frank there in saying that there's an agenda behind this, and that's certainly, from the stuff that I've seen on Twitter and stuff like that, that certainly seems to be the main feeling from Rangers supporters, that this isn't just a simple decision made for the benefit of kids' football. It's a decision made by a Celtic supporter to try and curb Rangers in attempts to raise match day revenue. Are Rangers fans right to think that there's a political agenda behind this decision?
I don't think they're wrong to think the way that the support is collectively thinking. With regards to agendas, obviously there's a plan to implement parking restrictions close to Ibrox, which is met with some anger from the supporters. Whether that's replicated in the environs round about Celtic Park, I'm not too sure on that, but it's easy to draw conclusions. Obviously the Stephen Dornan's an SNP councillor. He's got previous. I'm not too sure whether he is James Dornan's son or not, but I'll defer to your greater knowledge in that score, Colin. But it just seems petty. The way I come into the game, I come from the south side, so I come over the motorway past the Tradeston ex-Servicens club, whereas I used to come from the west side. I used to walk down Shield Hall Road and Edmiston Drive, and I've never seen kids playing on it. I've seen games being played on the pitch, albeit it was kind of it was men's football. So I think I think the citing, the Rangers are blocking kids' football is contentious at best on their part. But if it means that we get our acts together and we develop our own facilities with regards to the fan zone, then it may well, as you allude to, it may well be a blessing in disguise. But I think I wouldn't put anything past Glasgow City Council where Rangers and an agenda against Rangers are concerned. All you need to do is just walk up around about Celtic Park and the Emirates Arena to see the amount of investment and public money that's been into the surrounding areas around about their place.
Pete, David gives us an example there, because they have had a lot of investment, and there's obviously the issue around certain property deals, and Celtic were allowed to demolish a listed building, the old school that used to be outside Celtic Park. So are we looking at, when it comes to Glasgow City Council, are we looking at, it's all right for one, but it's not all right for the other? Is there an imbalance in how the two clubs are being treated?
Well, I would think so. Obviously, the Commonwealth Games. I'm not a great expert on Glasgow politics, obviously because I live in Germany. But obviously, the Commonwealth Games, where the whole area around about Parkhead was refurbished, and all the land deals, and I believe that the Celtic are now actually going to have to pay back the Co-op for a loan that they got, so that's going to be hitting them soon. I wonder, and it's always been, even when I was lived in Scotland, it was sort of a Glasgow Council was sort of a leaning towards Celtic. Let's put it that way.
David, final question on this one: Did the Rangers need to stand up to this?
Of course they do. Of course they do. It's how they go about it. I appreciate it. It's a very precarious situation that they find themselves in. There's a way of media opinion that Rangers are bad, Celtic are good. Celtic are victims, Celtic are put upon, and they're they fight their way out, and they come out on top because they've got the moral high ground, if you like. That's how it could be interpreted by a lot of Rangers supporters and just general members of the public. The club definitely need to stand up to Colin. It's just how they go about it. They don't seem to have any allies within public life, and certainly in the Glasgow sphere. There doesn't seem to be a heck of a lot's changed since the SNP assumed control of the council. Although that's what we get to read about publicly. Now, obviously, there's some Rangers supporters thankfully don't let the grass grow under their feet, and they do a bit of investigating to see what's going on behind the scenes, and that's coming to light more readily now than it's ever done before in the past. So the fact that we're talking about certain things like land deals at Celtic Park, and the district valuing land somewhat below market value, and all that kind of stuff, state aid, all these allegations and whatnot, it's all coming to light now, especially on the back of freedom of information and things like that. So, do we go, all guns blazing and take a very public standpoint, or do we do our fighting behind the scenes? I dare say that the guys that work for the club are obviously, they must be in contact with Glasgow City Council on a regular basis, and it may well be that that they're up against they're fighting an uphill battle, and they just don't seem to be getting anywhere. I think, see what this might sound a tad ludicrous here, but see if we start winning and we win trophies and we win the title, more importantly, if we start winning the title again, all this stuff, Rangers have got a greater strength in their hand when it comes to pointing that stuff out. It's a one-way street in terms of the kind of media perception of both clubs, and it's weighted favourably in Celtic's favour. All you need to do is look at the BBC output from Pacific K to know that we're up against it, and I just hope that the club senior employees are doing everything within their power to exercise as much control and leverage over people who would naturally favour the other ticket over us. All you need to do is look back to the fallout with regards to Angela Haggerty at the Herald and Graham Spears, where pressure was brought to bear by a Rangers director who I'll no name, but I think you wouldn't need to be a genius to work out who it was with regards to advertising revenue for that newspaper and how that power can be wielded in a positive fashion. And I'd like to think that our board of directors are working tirelessly to redress the balance and at least have some equity of esteem and parity of esteem, within how we are treated with regards to any kind of public developments around about Ibrox and what have you. Especially maybe the likes of reopening the Ibrox railway station, which was mentioned quite recently. So we'll need to see how that goes, but we definitely need to take the fight to whoever's doing wrong against us.
Right, quickly moving on to the Sevco of the week. I think there's only one winner this week, so I won't even take it to the guys. We're all having a good laugh before we came on air about the Celtic fan who drove 8 hours to Croatia to watch a Rangers game in Europe to support Osijek and display a banner that says "You're not Rangers anymore," only to have said banner taken off him. So big thumbs up to that guy. He certainly made my week, I must admit. Although I did notice there was an Irish tricolour in the crowd and a flag for the Vatican City. So, aye, you've got to wonder about them. You really do. Anyway, that's it for another week of the Gersnet podcast. A big thanks to Pete and David for their contributions, much appreciated. Good chat as always. Thanks to our audio engineer Graham. As always, he'll turn it into something wonderful. I think Ross, we don't have the full details yet for next week's show, but I'm under the impression that Ross will be presenting and he'll have another couple of guests on. So look out for that. Also look out for our friends over at We Welcome the Chase. Great podcast there. Some good stuff going on. Check it out. In the meantime, get yourself over to the Gersnet website and the forums there at www.gersnet.co.uk. Lots of good chat, lots of good articles, lots of good people. Get on there and have some fun. Ross is hosting next week. So until the next time, I'll see you then.